couple of months ago, life reminded me of what actually matters in life. We seem to think that there's these materialistic things that are going to solve all of our problems. There's power, status, money, fame. All of these things are going to make us happy. And while I'm nowhere near at the top of those mountains, something tingled in me that made me question if any of that does matter. And as I've been reflecting over the last little bit in this holiday season, just coming into the new year, I started to put a plan together of how can I achieve success in the most unorthodox way possible? How can I create a life evolved around the things that we actually want in pursuit of achieving the things that we don't actually really need? I got thinking because I still wanted all of the things. I wanted the success. I wanted the materialistic stuff. I wanted the travel. I wanted the freedom. So if I wanted to achieve that, there's only a couple of options of achieving that, at least from what we know. It's the typical grind, the work until your eyeballs bleed, the stress so much and sleep so little, nature of this hustle culture that we all feel like we need to partake in order to achieve these material things that we want. And I sat back and thought, surely there's got to be a better way. How can I design my life around a life that I truly love, a journey, a process that I truly love, not just one that people think that we need to do? And here we are. It's the 5th of January. I'm recording this the day before my birthday, which is the 6th of January. I'm 24 tomorrow, and I've just moved into this house in Malibu, a dream place that I could never have imagined living in. You know, if you go back to my younger self at 12 years old, being in Airlie Beach, a small town in Australia, in North Queensland, there's no money there. There's one massive house on the point. And whenever we would go out in our boat, I'd always look at it and be like, holy. But never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd ever amount to that. I thought that was like a thing that only a select few people could actually obtain. I didn't think everyone could obtain it. So I never even considered what that would look like obtaining. And then fast forward to me now, turning 24, and I moved into this spot. And it blows me away a little bit. And you'd think that, coming to the other side of the world in America and chasing all of these things and getting all of these external victories, you'd think you'd look at me and go, you're crushing it. And while I am, if I'm being completely frank, I'm doing well. There's a part inside of me that just felt empty. I felt alone. I felt isolated. I questioned what I was doing every day. And so while people may think that seems to be successful, I never felt that internally. So externally, I was getting praise, but internally, I didn't feel very good. And a couple of months ago, I was reminded of that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I started questioning things. I started asking myself why. And what I realized is it doesn't have to be that way. What if I could create a life filled with connection, joy, peace, and only do the things that I truly want to do? Imagine that. Imagine a world where you only had to do green light tasks. The green light ones, the ones where green light means go. It means you sprint. It means all you want to do is go. The red light ones are the ones that make you stop. It makes you yawn. It makes you not want to be awake and you'd rather sleep. Imagine if I could just do green light ones that spring me out of bed and spend all day doing them. What would that look like? You might think I'm delusional by wanting that, but I truly don't believe in compromise. I don't like this idea of compromise. I want it all. And I'm not willing to settle for less. And going into 2026, it's not changing. I don't like this idea of having one thing in pursuit of sacrificing another. I want it all. And maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm young, maybe I haven't been through enough to truly think that that's realistic, or maybe not even think that that's realistic. Maybe I'm too young to understand that that is not realistic. But fuck that. I want to figure out if it is. So I'm not going to even imagine a life that's different to that. I don't want to sacrifice anything. And I don't think anyone should. I don't think anyone should sacrifice things, because if you're truly aligned with what you actually want deep down, then you never see anything as sacrifice, because you realize that the things that you're doing now is getting you closer to a life that you truly want to live. And so it's not really sacrifice, because everything is sacrifice. So it's kind of like it all levels out. You're sacrificing in everything that you want to do, you're sacrificing. So if there's a sacrifice to everything in life, then sacrifice is a redundant term. So yeah, I went on this quest and I wrote something actually. I'm still thawing it out. I haven't quite come to the conclusion of it yet, but I've come up with this dream life and I've called it the abundant slow life. So let me read it to you. Hey guys, just a quick one from me. If you're watching this, you would see that the video is a little bit blurry. I recorded this at the house I've just moved into in Malibu, and it's filmed the day before my birthday. I'm posting this and recording this on the morning of my birthday. Now, look, if there's one thing you can take away from this, I had no production team, but I didn't let that get in the way. I still figured out and press record and we got it done, and now it's out there, right? And so please excuse it. There's so many things that I've shared in this podcast that I've been thinking about and pondering on and writing on for the past few weeks, truly trying to get to the bottom of what success means to me. I've spent the last 7 years sprinting, climbing up the mountain as fast as I can and sacrificing everything at all costs. And it hit me like a ton of bricks a couple of months ago. And it's really made me rethink how I want to live this life and how I want to approach it. And I think the things that I've shared in here really resonate with me, and I hope that they do for you as well. So stick around. If you can't keep watching, go to the audio platforms on Spotify or just listen to it in your ears on YouTube. And yeah, hopefully you guys take away a lot from this, just as much as I've taken away from these lessons. So without further ado, let's get right back into the episode. And I wrote something actually. I'm still thawing it out. I haven't quite come to the conclusion of it yet, but I've come up with this dream life and I've called it the abundant slow life. So let me read it to you. A life where you don't sprint, not because you're not capable, but because you don't need to. You swap the noise for peace of mind, clarity, and joy. You haven't been given this. You've earned it. It's a place you arrive at after reaching peaks and realizing that what's up there isn't the thing that you actually want. It's not what anyone actually wants. However, because you've climbed and conquered, you have the fruits of the people on the mountaintop, just without the noise. You've exhausted the desire society places on you, so nothing can feel like everything. Your needs have dissolved, leaving you with what you actually want, a cup full of love, connection, and freedom. See, I look at that and the reason it's called the abundant slow life is because I think there's so much abundance in that, because you've achieved what people at the mountaintop have achieved and realize that you don't need it. So you've exhausted the desire of obtaining it. You know, people talk about unteachable lessons. It's one of those things. You can't learn the lesson unless you embark on the journey and achieve the thing. It's an unteachable lesson. And there's something so freeing about realizing that, because then you don't feel like you have this desire to obtain these things. And yeah, the key part there as well is it's not that you're not capable, it's just you don't need to. Because when you're in this state of you are capable, you're not in victimhood, you're not like, oh, that's not for me, you're not being lazy, it's not a cop-out. You're capable of doing it, but you don't feel like you need to deep down. Like you genuinely feel full within what you have right now. And, you know, you might be listening to this and going, come on, mate, Like, quit with this spiritual stuff, this enlightened stuff. Like, come on, you're sitting in this massive place in Malibu. And while that's true, that's the abundant piece coming in. I still want everything. But do I really need to work until my eyeballs bleed to achieve it? And this is the part that I've been pondering on. The part that challenges the path that people think you need to go on in order to achieve success. I don't think you need to work until your eyeballs bleed. And, it's such a tough one to discuss because I recognize that it does require hard work. But I just think that there's got to be a better way. So for me, when I was writing down, exploring what the better way could be, what I came up with was a couple of things. I realized that I have been sprinting for the last 7 years. I'm 24 tomorrow. When I was 17 years old, when I just turned 17, it's when things really started to change for me. It's when I started really going all in on business. I stopped really focusing on school and I was starting to read self-improvement books and going to events and trialing different things and just throwing myself into the deep end. At 17, that's when all of that really happened for me. And when I go back to that time, it was definitely hard. And then when I go to 18, 19, 20, all the way through till right now, it was extremely hard. Like lonely, isolating, and it still is. I'm here alone, but I've come to this peace of being okay alone. And I kind of like that. I like that I don't feel like I need a lot of things. And so when I was thinking about designing my life for 2026, I got clear on what I actually wanted and what were the things that deep down I truly wanted. And so what I actually wanted was to spend most of my hours reading, writing, creating, training, and connecting with those who matter most. Everything else is inferior. That's my goal for 2026. Imagine being able to make a boatload of money reading, writing, creating, training, and connecting with those who matter most. That's achievable. And I know it sounds confusing and I know it might like grind your gears because you're at level 1 and you don't really even know what the next step looks like. And I know that sounds a bit like, Chris, shut up for a second. But truly, imagine that life. Again, if we tie in what I said at the start, I said that I don't like compromise. I don't like this idea of compromising the things that I'm doing in my life. I don't like this idea of sacrificing the good days for shit and doing things that I don't want to do. So let's start there. If I could do that, would I love my life? Would I spring out of bed in every single morning? If I shut my eyes and I think about that life, I think about being able to wake up, read, write, train and work out my body, and connect with the people that I love most and make a boatload of money doing so, would I love my life? Would I spring out of bed in the morning? Yes, I would. That life is achievable. I know it is. I've been through enough low times. I've been through enough hardship. I've been through enough isolation. I've been negative too many times. I've had so many highs. And I have this confidence in myself that I can achieve that. And when I show up in the world like that, I'm being the person that can live that life. Things start to radiate. Opportunities start to flood into my life. My value in terms of the way that I perceive myself increases. So I start to demand more for my time. Meaning I start to make more money. I start to be respected more. I start to get the things that I want in my life. So when I fully embody that and I be that person and I identify like that, a byproduct of that is my environment reflects it. I get to live the life that I want. So I start there and then I backtrack and I go, okay, what do I do for a living? I share my thoughts. Okay. So I share my thoughts for a living. I get to be a podcaster. Awesome. Dream job. If I'm sharing my thoughts for a living, do you think it's important that I think a lot, that I write a lot, that I read and learn a lot? Yeah. The number one key to my success is obviously all of the cool stuff and in being in the cool locations. But the number one key thing to my success is the things that leave my mouth. So I would hope that I could work on that every single day so that the things I leave my mouth are better. So that's the first thing. So now it went from once last year being guilty for reading and writing to now I feel like it's the most important thing I can possibly do. So I recognize that. If I say better things out of my mouth, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. Awesome. Let's spend time every single day reading and writing. Okay, when I've tried that before, how did that play out? Okay, I tried to do it before bed every single night. And I would read or try and write before bed every single night. And guess what would happen? I'd get a page in and I'd be asleep. So let's not try that again. That thing clearly doesn't work. So how about I set my alarm for 4 a.m. every single morning when it's silent, no one's awake, no one can harass me, and I can just be in peace. Maybe when I do that and I have a blank page and a pilot pen, I could write some magic. I'm calm. I feel alert. So I did it. And every single day, I've been getting up at 4 a.m. And for the first 4 hours of my day, from 4 a.m. till 8 a.m., I am reading, writing, and learning. The most important thing that I could possibly be spending my time doing. Awesome. So that ticks those boxes. Reading, writing, working out. All right. If I want to work out and train my body, when should I do that? Okay, well, I know that if I wait till 4 or 5 p.m. at night, I'm going to be exhausted and I'm not going to be able to stick to that. So if I design my life in a way that is set up for failure, I would put my workout later on in the day. So I didn't want to do that. So in an ideal world now, I've changed it from the afternoon to after I've done my reading and writing, I go and work out. Okay, where am I working out? Do I have a gym? Do I have a gym partner? What's it going to look like? Am I running? Where am I running? So then I get clear on this and I add it into my routine. Bang, 8:30, I work out. That's what I do now. And if it skips out or if I've got work to do, then I'll do it a little bit later, but no later than 2, because I know that I'm going to get tired. And so what I didn't realize over the last 7 years is that it's been extremely hard. It's been extremely uncertain. It's been extremely unknown. But all of those things has taught me a whole lot about myself because I chose to keep going, because I chose to get back up when I got slammed on my face. What I've realized when connecting the dots looking back, I've realized that all of these things have taught me so much about myself. So now when I'm planning and designing my dream life, I can do it with ease because I know who I am. You know, this last 7 years have been so hard. It's been so isolating. It's been so lonely. And all of those things is an understatement to how much pain and suffering and challenge it's been. And it never made sense. I always thought I was doing the right thing. I always thought that I was just a guy trying to have a crack and the universe was against me. I always thought this. But now looking back at it, it all makes sense. It was teaching me more about me. It was helping me understand who I was. And that's the biggest superpower. We always try and show up in the world like someone else just to be pleased by people we don't even care about, to get praised from the people that want our best, but they actually don't want our best. They want their best and they want what's safe. We show up in this world not with what we are down deep. We show up in this world really just trying to please and fit in. And when you truly know yourself, you don't feel the need to do that. And that's this mission that I'm on. So I look at this, and when I said at the very start is how can I create success in the most unorthodox way? I'm trying to swap the work until your eyeballs bleed for the calm. I'm trying to swap the stress, lack of sleep, extreme caffeine consumption for peace, joy, fulfillment. And I'm trying to make a boatload of money doing so. And you know what? I think it's going to happen. Last year when I'm looking back at 2025, I made over $500,000 US. And that's a lot for me. That's 750,000 Australian dollars. And this year I want to double that with doing far less work. And it's going to happen. And it excites me so much. I got asked yesterday, what am I going to do for my birthday? Am I going to celebrate? Do I have any celebrations, any plans? And the first thing that came to my mind was, I have zero desire to celebrate because every single day for the last couple of weeks, I have only done things I want to do. My days are literally the best. I am so lit up with my life. Why would I want to change any of it? They ask me, what am I going to do for my birthday? Well, it's tomorrow. My alarm, it's set for 4 a.m. I'm going to get up. I'm going to post into my reading room the book that I'm reading. I'm going to write, probably journal. I might create a cool post saying it's my birthday. I'm going to write a little poem about it. And then I'm going to go and work out, maybe go for a run with one of my really good friends, Hunter, do some more work, go have some steak dinner with the boys. What more could I ask for? It's great. I don't want anything else. And so the most profound thing that I've realized is that the biggest key to success is knowing who you are. And the only way you can know who you are is by entering so many dark tunnels and making it out the other side, because every single one of them teaches you so much about yourself. It is the most liberating feeling, going from A to B and making it out of that tunnel, because what comes with that is more clarity. What comes with that is more peace. Ultimately, what comes with that is more happiness. It's as stoic as it gets. The more shit that you go through, the better your life will be. Black and white. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the stuff that I've been reading recently. Not reading. I'm going to go through some stuff that I've been writing, some concepts, some things that have been coming to me, and we'll elaborate on them and see where it takes us. This one's about love. Shit. It's about love. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've kind of fallen in love recently. And it's weird saying that because I've only ever loved a couple of people in my whole life aside from my family. And it is quite early days with this woman. But I feel a way that I've never felt before. And I'm just being very aware of that. And it's funny. There was a thought that crossed my mind of losing her. And that thought scared the shit out of me. I talk about overcoming heartbreak all the time. And I talk about how, it's the most life-changing thing for you. And you got to keep pushing through and all of this. But when it actually came to me, again, I felt it. And the fear of losing her creeped in. And anyway, I'm going to read you this about love because I think it's fitting. You know love is real when a man who feels unshakable in almost anything feels a rush of anxiety running through his whole body when the thought comes to his mind of losing the woman he's in love with. Not even a rush of anxiety well describes the feeling. It freezes him. Nothing else matters in that moment. But because he is unstoppable, he reminds himself that it doesn't matter, that he has trust that whatever happens is the right thing, which is true. He means that, But just how he couldn't explain and justify the feelings he had when he met this woman, he can't explain and justify the thoughts of losing this woman. It's the exact same feeling as when he met her. Just one experience ends with a smile, the other ends in sadness, a lurking thought that makes him question his unstoppableness. But hey, he's been here before, and when he got heartbroken, what happened? It was a new fuel to the fire like no other. His whole life changed. The only other fuel that matches the fuel from heartbreak is the fuel from falling in love. Isn't it crazy how heartbreak fuels you to level up, but falling in love equally does as well? So it isn't the fact that you're heartbroken or you fell in love, it's the transition of your state of love, regardless on whether it feels good or bad. They are equally as life-changing. The key decider on whether you let it make you or break you is if you have agency. If you live in victim consciousness, you will drown and then end up in the exact same place. If you want growth, take agency and look within. The transition in your state of love is a fuel to the fire like no other. I realized that the feeling of heartbreak and the feeling of falling in love is a very similar feeling. You still feel that like anxiety in your chest. You still feel like your heart skip a beat. You feel this like clogging up in your throat, but just one has excitement and one has sadness. They both fuel you the same way. They both make you want to level up. They both make you stop and pause. They both make you cry because both of them you didn't think would ever happen. You started doubting ever falling in love, and you sure as hell didn't think about falling out of love and getting heartbroken by someone that you were in love with. So the feeling of both of them are equally as powerful if you let them be. If you fall in love, what you can do is go, I need to level up. As a man, I need to push past the barrier that I have now and get to the next level because this woman, and hopefully she's the mother to my children, is now relying on me. It forces you to level up. And heartbreak does the same thing. When you go through lows like a heartbreak, they are so low, but they give you a new drive of what you can do. They give you a new reason to get up and go again, a new reason to level up, a new reason to get so far ahead of where you were, so that you can look back and go, I am so glad that that thing happened. Heartbreak can make or break you. And that's the most exciting thing ever. And I realized that because recently, to be frank, I have fallen in love. And I really haven't felt this way about a woman before. And the thought of losing her does scare me. But then I remind myself that even if that did happen, that will be the best thing that could have ever happened to me because it will change my life for the better. See, when I look at 2025, the most viral clips on my podcast were ones about love. They were ones about heartbreak. They were ones about relationships. And I think the reason for that is because so many people connect to it. So many people think that we are all going through different things, but the reality is we're all going through the same challenges, the same difficulties. We're not as different as we all make out. We're so similar. And I think that's why these videos perform so well about heartbreak and relationships and dealing with social dynamics because it's so challenging for so many of us. I'm going to go to the next thing that I've been thinking about. And then after all of this, we're going to go through and answer some questions that you guys asked on my Instagram. This is a poem I wrote when I've been questioning my faith, questioning my trust on what's happening. It's called I Guess I Have a Plan. I guess I have a plan. I'm not sure what that plan is, but maybe it's God's plan. I'm not sure what that God is, but maybe if I ask, I shall receive. I'm not sure what to ask, but I guess I have trust. I'm not sure what that trust means, but life is exciting. I should be excited. I am excited. only sometimes. Others, I feel pressure, uncertainty, doubt, fear, nerves, a constant lurking tingle in my throat, belly, mind, heart. But it's fine because I guess I have a plan. I'm not sure what that plan is, but maybe it's God's plan. A plan that has me going full force chasing a version of success I think is success, then my definition of success changes. So the plan has to as well. I sprint, I fall, I climb, I conquer, achieve goals I set, fall short on others, and get to the end and realize it was all part of the plan. The plan I guess I had. I'm not sure on what that plan was, but I guess it was God's plan. I'm still not sure what that God is, but either way, things turned out just fine. I'm trying to figure out what it is that I believe in and what I stand in and what I stand for. And ultimately, I'm still trying to learn more about myself. But I'm trying to piece together this connection to something greater. I know that this isn't just me. There's way too many synchronicities. There's way too many things that remind me that this life is so perfect, divine, and right on time. And there's not like a human that's created all of this. And I'm just struggling to understand what my connection to that God is. And it's been exciting embarking on this journey. If you guys are in my book club, you would know, I call it a book club. I call it the reading room with Chris Griffin. But if you guys are in that reading room and we're reading books together, one of the books is The Case for Christ, and it's grinding my gears. There's aspects of the way it's written and religion and the emotional aspect of it that I'm really struggling with. It just gets annoying. And yeah, I think I'm still trying to see where I arrive at. I'm not sure if I'll ever arrive at something. I think it'll just keep evolving. But that's great. I think it's exciting that I'm aware of it now. I also think what's also awesome is I didn't grow up with any religion. So what that allows me to do is have a clean slate and to take on board what I think serves me and challenge the things that don't, so that I'm not just treating everything like gospel, even if it tickles me in the wrong way, or even if it doesn't feel right. So that's been fun. But yeah, I guess I have a plan. I'm not too sure what that plan is, but maybe, just maybe, it's God's plan. And again, not sure what that God is, but everything's turning out just fine. The copycat trap. This is a concept I came up with. I was in the gym with a good friend, Wade Pappenfuss, when I was back in Australia on the Gold Coast. And he started talking about this problem with fashion and with things, about how something becomes attractive, so then everyone starts to do it. And then because everyone starts to do it, it loses attraction. And I just thought, man, we have to unpack this more. So I went home and got to work. And I've called it the copycat trap. Once upon a time, a single spark of uniqueness caught a woman's eye. Maybe it was a man's style, distinctive smell, tattoos, slang, or anything else under the sun. In that moment, he stood out. But as soon as others see that spark gain attraction, they chase it and they fall into the copycat trap. A place where uniqueness turns into a wave of replicas and the magic attraction dissolves, leaving you stuck with nothing but a subpar version of the person you copied. When everyone tries to become the same version of attractive, that label turns from attractive to typical. The only real answer is to be no one but yourself. Attraction comes from authenticity. A trend is fleeting, you are not. But hey, if you want the trendy BPN hat and the tattoos, go for it. But only if it's really you. Don't try to be someone else just to be liked, because that only takes you further away from true connection. For everyone that's in Australia or someone that doesn't know what a BPN hat is all the boys, I love them all, they're legends. All the boys in Austin, Texas are rocking these BPN supplement red hats and they've got all got the tattoos and the tan and they're all jacked and they all look the exact same. And they're all legends, great guys. But it is interesting how they've coined this style and everyone's trying to adopt it. And what's going to happen is it's going to get old because everyone's going to do it. People are going to just start calling you typical for doing that thing as opposed to being attracted to you. And so the only way out of that copycat trap is to be you, no one else. And I think that's a really good segue and reminder about authenticity. When I think about all of the things that have garnered me the most amount of success in my life in every area, the underlying thing has been me being authentic, me being myself. Because trying to be someone that you're not is making people like a persona of you, not who you are. And the thing that happens is that feels very, very hollow. And I felt it when I started blowing up on social media. What happened was I started getting perceived in a way that I didn't feel was me. This was before I had the podcast, because podcast at least allows me to have this long form, raw, authentic nature of me. So obviously you guys are listening however long into this pod. It's not just like a 40-second clip. But when people are starting to see a lot of short form of you and not a lot of long form, they're starting to form a perception of you that's not you. So then they start liking you, not for you, but for how you look and for how you act and for how they perceive you in a short period of time, not from actually spending a lot of time with you. And when you try and show up like someone that you're not, you're going to be liked for someone that you're not. And it's going to feel very hollow. And so the underlying key to true fulfillment has to be authenticity. You want to be liked? Be authentic. If you want to be liked for someone that you're not, or if you want to be lonely and isolated, be unauthentic. You can get short-term gratification if you be unauthentic because you can get liked in the short term, but then you're still going to feel hollow. You're going to get praise, but you're not going to feel full. And authenticity is the thing that unlocks that. It's the key to true connection. It's the key to true fulfillment. It's the key to true peace. When you be authentic, everything in your life will start to change. We're going to go and talk about dreams, and more specifically, dreaming without action and the effects that that has. Here we go. Is having a dream without action worse than having no dream at all? When you dream but never move, you live knowing there's more for you, but yet you'll never reach it. That's torture. At least without dreams, you can sleep without regret. Dreaming without action might just be the worst place to be. Man, it's fun to dream. It's great having big goals, and it's even better achieving them. Because if you dream without acting, you know what's out there. You know you can obtain that, but you aren't willing to get it. And that would keep a lot of people up at night. That would keep me up at night. When you have big ideas, big goals, but you just don't know what you need to do to get them, it is even more important to take steps in the dark, trusting in the process, trusting that you will be able to achieve them. Because if you don't, you are aware of the dreams, but you'll never achieve them. So you're aware that you can get them, but you never get them. And I don't know about you, but that sounds like torture. Because those dreams will lurk on your mind. They won't go away. Don't expect to wake up one day and think that that's not going to still be in the back of your mind. It is. Act without question. Without the action, you are going to have this lurking thought in your mind. It's 2026. What are all the dreams that you have? What are all the things that you want to achieve in 2026? If you got to the end of the year and you would deem this year as a success, what would have you achieved? What would have you ever achieved? What would be the things that you could look back on and go, fuck yeah, I did that. I acted on that. I gave that a crack. I got back up when I got slammed on my face. I can get to the end of 2026 and I can say, I am so glad that I tried. Having the dreams at the start of the year and not acting on them is possibly the worst thing that you can do. Because guess what? If that is your pattern, you're going to get to 2027. You're going to set these dreams. You're going to set these goals and you're not going to do it. And then you're going to get to 28, set these dreams, set these goals, and then you won't do it. And what happens is you start to develop this hatred for yourself. You start to lack confidence. You start to never be able to believe in anything that you do. You show up in the world as an inferior version of yourself. And I'm not here to tell anyone how to live their life, but if you're this far into a solo podcast and me talking, you know you have big dreams. You know you want more from this life. So go and get them. For me, when I tied in to my life and how I said at the start of this, how I don't want to compromise and I want to achieve all of my dreams in an unorthodox way. My thought around this is there's certain prices that I'm not willing to pay. There's certain things that might get me to the top of Everest quicker, but I'm not willing to pay the cost of that speed. And what comes with that speed is maybe associating with people that are so transactional that see me as a dollar sign and not as a person. I'm not willing to pay that cost. I'm not willing to sap my energy from energy vampires and people that want me for what I have, not for who I am. That's a cost I'm not willing to pay. And if it means that I can take a little bit longer to go up Everest, but it means instead of going up, I'm like taking the longer route, I think the journey will be far more enjoyable and I'm willing to do that. I'm not willing to pay that cost. Another cost I'm not willing to pay is my health. And then the cherry on top, one that I'm not willing to pay, is peace of mind. I've spent too long. I've spent 7 years sacrificing all my peace of mind. I sacrificed all of my calmness. I felt so on edge for so long. And I feel like I deserve some peace of mind. I deserve deep connection. I want to build loving connections with the people that matter most. And I want to disregard everyone else. Because I know if I can do that, I can show up in the best way possible in front of these cameras and be the global legacy and impact that I know that I can be. And I think the moment that I take away peace of mind, I take away deep connection with the ones that matter most, I'm not going to be able to show up as me, the best version of me, the one that radiates light, the one that people are attracted to. So I think a powerful task and an action item for you guys to do is understand what costs you're not willing to pay. What items do you want in the store and how much do they cost? Because a lot of the time you can still obtain that item without the same price tag. You know, it might be a little less convenient to get, but maybe it's a price you're willing to pay. So what are all the price tags that you're not willing to pay for the things that you want in your life, and design your life around things that don't have price tags you don't want to pay. Only pay the price you're willing to pay. And if you don't have boundaries in that realm, you're going to get walked over. And I don't want that. So this one's about success. Success has a strange duality. You work so hard to become someone people admire, only to realize the climb slowly disconnects you from the very people you wanted to feel seen by. You gain status, followers, momentum, yet lose the simple connection you once had. People assume you're too busy, so friends and family stop calling, and you drift further into isolation while everyone insists you're living the dream. The pursuit keeps pushing you away from being relatable until success starts to feel hollow. Some say religion is the answer. and I'm not quite there yet. I believe to stop this connectionless pursuit to obtain success is to do it with others on the same mission. A few key brothers that live close in proximity and a wife by your side the whole way, because without that, the journey to the top only gets lonelier the more you climb. Again, I'm not sure what that God is, but there is a God's plan. There's something up there. But that's a good representation of my life. I found myself achieving more success, but then I stopped getting invited to dinner parties. I found myself achieving what people wanted, but then had less people calling my phone. It was quite weird, right? And they stopped calling me because they thought I was too good now. They thought that my life was not like theirs anymore and I wouldn't want to hang out with them. But I still want the invite, man. I still want to feel connected. I want to feel a part of it. I want to have normal experiences. I want to go and kick the football. I want to just go and have a sauna and chill and chat. I want to cook a steak on the barbecue. And I stopped getting it. I stopped getting anything. And then I would run into these same people and they'll be like, dude, you're crushing it. And I'd be like, thanks, man, but I saw you had 3 different events on and I didn't get a single invite. And if you think I'm crushing it and you're keeping up to date, then surely you're not disinterested in me. Then why don't you invite me? Success does come with some weird things where, people start to treat you differently. And you start meeting new people and your friendship changes and all of this. But I've really started to realize that I really want to hone in on the people that matter most. And I think that's the key. Yeah. I think being able to cherish and work on the relationships that matter most is very important. And for me, I think it's just a few brothers and a wife that can be the mother to my children. And then obviously my family, of course. And there's one more line on this. I'll find it for you. With so much growth came so much distance. I'd grow as a person in my health, awareness, business, and ability, thinking what would come with that is a more attractive person to be around. So I thought more growth meant more connection. That was true for the connection with myself, but certainly not the connection with others. My growth became a repellent, a disgusting smell, pushing people away from sending me an invitation to the party, dialing my number, responding to my texts. My life was full of let's catch up soon interactions where the soon never came. It's a weird duality. You feel you're doing well, you're working hard, and you're getting praise, but your environment doesn't really reflect that. It's connectionless, like a magnet turned the wrong way. That's one thing that I think is just really important to be aware of when we're chasing these external successes. They're not bad. They're amazing. Money's awesome. It unlocks so much freedom and it's so great. I mean, life is so great, but I just think that there is an element of being aware of what's happening and what the other effects are of obtaining all these things that we want. We're going to go to some questions from people in my Instagram to close this out. And hopefully some of these can connect with you and hopefully I can answer some of your questions. So we'll just do a few of these and then we'll call it a day. This one's from Noah Stone, a friend of mine that I've been developing, which has been great. He's married to Savannah Faith Stone, which I've had on the show. I actually brought both of them on and they're just awesome people. I have so much time for Savannah and for Noah. He said, what are a few areas of life you're looking to grow in this year? Looking to grow my love and my consciousness. They're the two things. I want to grow love romantically and platonically. I want to cherish the connections that I have. And then I want to expand my consciousness. I want to be so aware that I get phased less. I want to grow in my mind internally. And I think when I look at all of the things that I'm wanting to achieve, I want to make $1 million this year. Yes, I want to continue living in big places and in really cool areas. I want to drive a nice car. I want to take my family on holidays. I want to do all of these things that are quite materialistic. But I think the way I'm going to achieve that is by looking within and spending a lot of time within, spending a lot of time being aware of what I'm thinking, what I'm experiencing, the life I'm living. So expanding my consciousness is something that I'm really focusing on. And that's why I'm doing the early mornings. I'm getting up at 4 a.m. every morning, because what it's doing for me is it's giving me this silence for hours, undistracted silence. There's the quote, "The answers you're looking for is in the silence you're avoiding." You don't have the answers right now, but you're also not giving yourself any time to be quiet, to be in peace, to be able to think, to be able to feel. You want the answers, but you don't want the silence. I'm sorry, buddy. You can't have both. You only get the answers through the silence. You can't have all of this like noise going around, music in your ears, people all around you, a phone call every time you go on a walk, wake up to an alarm to get ready for a job that you hate, to please all these people you don't even care about, and then go home and eat garbage, and then watch garbage, and then go to sleep, and then you do it all again, and then you're wondering why you're not happy, you're wondering why you don't have the answers, you're wondering why you feel missionless, you feel useless, you feel worthless. Duh! Of course you do. You don't have any time for yourself. This is why shower thoughts are a thing, because it's the one moment where you're there. Like all these things are not rocket science. You want answers, then quiet your mind. It's that famous quote, "I've got a busy day today. I'm going to meditate for 6 hours instead of 3. Consciousness is something that I'm just honing in on. And I really hope it reflects in the work that I put out. I really hope that I can speak to people more. I hope that people can feel my message more. I hope I can leave so much more global impact by spending these hours in silence. I really do. And I don't see how it won't. But I think I've got a unique edge. I am on my so-called competition. I'm like 15 years younger than them all. And how exciting is that? When I'm 15 years younger than my competition, if I can make people listen to me for the words that leave my mouth, I must be doing something right. And spending time thinking, reading, learning, writing, and seeing what's inside here and bringing it to life, I think is going to be the biggest game changer. And then the other pillar there was just love. I want to love. I've spent so much time alone. I'm ready to do this thing called life with someone. And, I have trust in the process. I'm not saying it has to be with a specific person. As I said, there is someone that frankly, I'm in love with right now, which is crazy. But it may not be her, and I'm okay with that. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I'm truly okay with that. I've spent so much time being so alone that I think I have this deep-rooted trust in whatever happens, and I'm just blessed to be in that position. So, strengthening connection with self and being conscious and aware, and then strengthening connection with others and developing love romantically and platonically. Wow, this one's a deep question. The Scotsman, if you were to start all over again in life, what would you do differently? I would act quicker. I would shorten the gap between the idea of doing something and doing it. I would figure out ways to reduce the friction to completing the things that I have desire of doing. Because if you think about something and don't act, you won't grow from that thought. But if you think about something and have a desire of doing something and then you act on doing the thing, you will grow. And that's the whole goal. Because when you grow, you find out more about what you like and what you don't like. You find out more about who you are and who you're not. And the only way you do that is by acting. So yeah, I would shorten the gap between my desire of doing something and actually doing it. And then the second thing would just be I would be very aware and I'd spend a lot of time alone. I would think and I would ponder and I would speak to people that are very conscious and aware. Yeah, that's what I would do. Next one is from Margaret Davies. Sum up your Jordan year 23 in one song. Probably my number one Spotify song, actually. Sometimes I feel like I can feel. The Red Clay Strays. I'm still fine. Let me play it. Sometimes I feel like I can feel this isn't real. I should be heading. I walk alone. I run the stone. You looking down. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes I feel like I can't feel this isn't real. Yeah. I've had a lot of moments in 2025, the year 23, my age, where I have felt very numb. Felt like the success wasn't real. I felt like nothing mattered for a lot of 2025. I felt that I was going around in circles. I felt that I was doing things wrong constantly. And I didn't feel like I had anyone to help me. I felt like I was trying, but questioning everything. And I'd make progress and I wouldn't give myself any praise because by that point, I didn't even think that was progress that was worth praising. And so I felt very numb. Yeah. And I think maybe that's why I've been changing my lens this year. Because I've just questioned my path so many times. I just know I'm on the right path. I know I'm doing the right thing, but I just felt like I kept going around in circles and putting myself in positions that would just make me feel so stressed. And like I'd have anxiety that would just run up my whole body and clog my throat. And it was just so much external praise, but so little internal praise. And so Yeah, nothing felt real. There's actually another song that I'll play which really hit home from Justin Bieber. It came on randomly and, yeah, his song Lonely, the lyrics in this, man, I don't know if I'm gonna get banned on Spotify or whatever for having this. Let's see.
Everybody knows my name now, but something about it still feels strange. Like looking in a mirror, trying to steady yourself and seeing somebody else. And everything is not the same now. It feels like all the lives have changed. Even when I'm older, it'll all calm down,
Mound, it's killing me now. I'm gonna get copyrighted if I play it any longer. But he goes like, used to have it all with nobody to call. Oh no, he goes, if you had it all with nobody to call, maybe then you'd know me. And yeah. It's a weird one. Success. It's that weird duality. He's like, maybe then you know me. It's still fucking lonely. And then he goes, I'm so lonely. I'm not a singer, but yeah, he hits home there. It like, I feel for someone like that has so much success externally from such a young age. Like, no one understands him. And I just think that for me, like, I don't have a lot of success comparatively to like a celebrity or someone. It's such a micro fame level that I'm at. But I just feel that I felt so alone last year. And honestly, that's why when I met this girl, I just froze. I went like, nothing else matters. And yeah, it made me think. And from that moment, I just started redesigning my whole life to craft it in a way that I got to be excited and would spring out of bed every single morning. Because yeah, a lot of last year was tough. It was the most life-changing year of my whole life, but it was also the most challenging year of my life. So it's funny how that works, isn't it? Seems to be a common theme. The hardest is the most life-changing? Huh. Ironic. Yeah. So now I'm excited about 2026. I have a new light that's like lit up inside me, and it's like brighter than it's ever been. And I'm ready to serve and make global impact and really help people and put service at the forefront of everything that I'm doing, and love and kindness and empathy. And yeah, I feel like I'm in the position to be able to do that. And I'm going to keep on documenting this and what I'm doing. And all I'll encourage you guys is 2026. If you have a fucking dream, chase that thing. Nothing else matters. Please do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else. And yeah, this has been uploaded on my birthday. I'm 24 years old. And if there's one thing I can ask from you, is just for my birthday, if you can just leave a comment to let me know that you've made it to the end. And if you can just let me know how you discovered me and what's been your favorite moment or episode or memory that has me in it. From the perspective of impact, because for me, that's what lights me up most. When I see someone's life be changed from something that I've done or played a role in or contributed in, it means more than any present I could ever receive. So if you could leave a comment down below, that would mean the world. And leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, because it will really help the show grow and help us keep getting awesome people on the show. We're leveling up this year, and I'm excited for you guys to be on the journey with me. And the final thing I'll just say is intake and coaching's just gone live to work with me to build your podcast in 2026. So if you are someone that wants to have a show and you want to share your thoughts, you want to interview people, maybe you have a business that you want to grow authority in, you want to get connections and grow your network, podcasting is the thing that will change that. Netflix are starting to have podcasts. There's going to be rewards on the red carpet now for podcasts. Podcasting is booming more than ever, and it's never been easier to stand out the pack because while there's a lot of podcasters starting, they all don't know what they're doing. And I'm just blessed that 2 years ago, I obsessed and I took a punt on obsessing over capturing feeling through content, because what I truly believe that is if you can capture feeling through content, you will win. And now more than ever, as AI is automating the world, people are craving human connection. It's the main thing that matters. And podcasting unlocks that. And I'd love to help you do that. So if you click the link in the description or the show notes below, you can apply to work directly with me, or you can join the PodPro community and we can keep on growing together. So put your details in the information or in the link below. I'm excited to work with you guys. I'm excited to bring your dreams to a reality, or at least help play a role and, teach you everything that I've learned on this journey of being in a small town in Australia, to starting social media, to launching a podcast, and then even just last year going from 2 million views a month to 30 million views a month. And we're well on our way to building the biggest show in the world. I'm the only person with a successful show in the whole world that is helping other people do it. So go to the link in the description below and apply to work with me today. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you in advance for all the birthday messages. You guys are all the best. And for making it this far into a solo episode, you mean the world to me. So lots of love, guys. Signing out for this episode, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.